Like I said, once again, my name is Hakeem Floyd. Good morning, everybody. I am the local veteran employment representative here for Career Source Tampa Bay. And I want to say thank you for joining our Veterans Networking Group. This is a networking group for veterans or spouses who is looking to have some resources within the community, speak to an employer possibly, and possibly have work on a job opportunity for yourself, or just receive vital information that can help you out in the near future. Um, we are going to uh, allow Mr. Angel Alvaro speak from Regions Bank. He's going to speak today on credit, on financial stability, and speaking on working on your credit. But before we send it off to him, I would like to announce some of the things that we have going on with Career Source Tampa Bay. We have a actual job fair for MacDill Air Force Base coming up. That will be, excuse me, whew, excuse me, that will be on January 21st. We will get out more information to that. We will also send out the flyers to the job fair for the job fair. And also we have another job fair coming up. Give me 1 second. I have to pull it up one more time. Where are you? We have another job fair that will be coming up that is in the works right now. It will be on February 18th. Congressman Gus Bilirakis will be hosting it, and it is a veteran employment fair. It will be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Boatsmar Hockey Rink. Let me actually share this content with you guys really fast. It will be a free employment fair for veterans, guard, and reserve members. And like I said, this will be hosted through Congressman Gus Bilirakis. We will also be partnering up with a couple of our other Career Source centers, the Career Source Pinellas and also Career Source Pasco Hernando. We will be giving out more information on that. And if you are looking for a contact, you can reach out to the lever in Career Source Pinellas, and this is Mr. Ahmed Amir. He's actually in the meeting right now, but we will be getting out more of that information to you guys. Now, Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand over the mic and the screen over to Mr. Andrew Alvera, and I'll let him go, sir. I want to say thank you also for attending.
Thank you so much, Hakeem. Good morning, everybody. My name is Angel. I'm Financial Wellness Relationship Manager with Regions Bank, and I'm very thankful for the time and opportunity to have to speak to this select group of individuals. Today, we're going to be talking about your credit report. And one of the reasons that is important to know about this, because it's not only for obtaining loans, but actually your credit can serve you for a lot of things. And it's a way to protect your identity. So in a little bit more, I will be sharing the screen, so bear with me. And when I begin sharing, you will be able to see the message that the screen will say your credit report, right? Please just give me a thumbs up if you are able to see it, sir. That's amazing. So again, we thank you for choosing your valuable time learning with us about credit right now and with me. My name again is Angel. I'm the Financial Wellness Relationship Manager with Regions Bank. Unfortunately, today we do not have my counterpart, which is Michael Neal. He is also a former veteran, not a former, I'm sorry, he's a VA. He was in the Marines. Unfortunately, he has a conflict of scheduling today, so he couldn't be today. However, I will provide you his information later on today. So today, we hope that you are able to participate and interact with us. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate, and ask it freely. Now, if you are able to as well, type it in the chat. Your chat function here in this area. If you go to the bottom upper part of your screen, you will be able to see something that has like a little box right next to two people, right? In there, that's the chat. So if you open that, you will be able to type in your information or your question, and I will be able to see it from there and being able to answer it. Or if you wish, you can also hold on to the questions until the end of the session. Let's continue. So being here today actually shows that you do care about your financial health, and you are taking an important step towards understanding your credit report and the value of credit and having a good history, right? Today we're going to be able to focus in big questions such: what is a credit report and FICO score? What does my credit report and FICO score affect my finances? And how can I maintain or improve my credit score? Now, so to begin with, and I know this is not a private setting, so more than often we normally ask, have you been able to pull out your credit in the last 12 months? I'm not going to ask you to share your information with me. However, if you have, great. If you haven't, no worries. I will be able to provide that information, where you can do it, where you're going to be able to get your credit report for free later on in the session. But the important thing is, the fact that you are here allows us to understand why you need to maintain yourself informed, right? There is a reason why we need to understand what is in your credit report and be able to consolidate the information that is provided in there towards the information that is actually being reported on the report. Let's begin by talking about the credit agencies. There are three major credit agencies that to report a credit. The first one is Equifax, then Experian, and TransUnion. One thing that you need to know is that they receive information from creditors, usually on a monthly basis, about whether you're making your loan or credit card payments on time. They also collect information about bankruptcy filings, court order judgments, tax liens, and any other type of public record information from courthouse records. The other thing that you need to understand about these three Bureau of Credits is that they're a for-profit company. Therefore, they sell your information to the different financial institutions or organizations, such governmental houses or utility companies, for example, sometimes, that they need to understand or know what is your credit report, what is your credit says, okay? And we will see shortly why. So, what is in the credit report? There is a lot of misconception of what is actually in your credit report. Many people believe that all your information is there, including medical or other type. But however, that's not true. The only information that is in your credit report is actually your identifying information, that is your name, date of birth, social security, even address, your credit history, any type of inquiries, and public records information such as collections. Again, what is not in your credit report is checking or savings account balances, your income, your medical history, purchases that you have been made with cash or checks, business accounts information, or driving records, race, gender, religion, or national origin. They are not in your credit report. Again, your only information that is in your credit report is your identifying information, such name, date of birth, social security, address where you live, your credit history, where you have been paying or not, inquiries, public records information, such as collections. And we're going to look into each of them a little bit closer, so we're able to understand what is it that is supposed to be looking at when you pull your credit report. Now, I mentioned before, this information that is in your credit report can affect not only to obtain loans, but also to get certain type of jobs. For certain type of jobs, for example, in the banking industry, we are required to pass not only a credit history, but also financial history as well. Just as an example. So depending upon the type of job that you have, the credit may be pertinent to that position or to that be able to get it. For housing, in rental applications and mortgages, that's the more common situation to utilize. Also to obtain insurance, car insurance, house insurance, name it. In fact, just to let you in a personal example, couple of months ago, I was unfortunate with my wife to buy a new home. So when we were doing the switch of the different, electricity, water, stuff like that, the first thing that they asked me is, number one, if I was a client already, and for only one of them I was a client, electricity. For the other ones, I wasn't. So they told me up front, we need to pull your credit. I asked why. Something that I do recommend to all of you, please, ask why you need to pull my credit. So they were able to tell me straightforward, something that you will find out later on in this session. They told me, we need to find out how risky you are, whether we need to charge you the deposit or not. So even utility companies may require your credit. That is so important to have and maintain a good credit report. So the credit itself comes out with this number, right? That this number represents how how much of a risk are you? Can be as low as 300, as high as 850. Considering something good could be around 640, for example. Now, depending upon what you're going to use it for. Are you applying for a house? Are you applying for a vehicle? Are you applying for utilities? The different companies may utilize their own model of credit reporting with the basic information obtained from the reporting agencies like, TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian. With that combination and with the information that the institution that you are dealing with, they will consider which credit score is the minimum that you should be able to have in order to apply or in order to obtain those services. So do not feel discouraged. For example, if let's say that you're going to an auto dealership and you're able to buy a vehicle for for example, with a score of 580, right? But then you go to a credit card company and the credit card says, no, we need 620 or 640. Or if you are going to, for example, do a personal loan and they tell you, no, we need 680, for example, right? However, a credit card normally is a lot lower. So again, it all depends the service or product that you are applying for or you're trying to obtain that this score would actually determine. However, rule of thumb is the better or higher your credit score, better type of rate, better type of benefits you might be able to obtain. And you will have actually the handle for a better negotiation. Now, all these numbers come from different areas. And this is basically what you see in the screen right now is basically the component of a credit score. As you can see, 35% is based on just past payment history. So the simple fact that you pay things on time, right, within the grace period, by the due date, depending upon what type of payment you need to do, whether it's a loan or a credit card or a mortgage. In a credit card, normally you have to pay it on the due date. Otherwise, you accrue late payments. And we're going to talk a little bit about late payments. So we have that clarification shortly. If you're doing a personal loan, normally you have 10 days of a grace period that you're able to pay the amount without any type of late fees. For a mortgage, conventional mortgages, normally, or any other type of mortgage, you normally have up to 15 days. However, your financial institution will let you know what is the grace period. Those are just the regular ones. Now, if you're able to make the payment within the grace period, that means that you're still making the payment on time. When you pass that grace period, you get a late fee, but that late fee is imposed by that institution. Still, making payment with the late fee added doesn't affect your credit. Your credit get affected when you go beyond 30 calendar days of your payment. So today is January 5th. Let's say that today is my due date for my mortgage, but I don't pay it until actually February 6th. That is more than 30 days, right? If that were to be, then that February payment is reported for January as a late payment. So keep in mind, if you are right now in a situation that you're struggling to make the payment on time and you're inquiring potential late fees, that's fine for the time being because it's not harming your credit itself. It's not fine because late fees, if you're accruing too many late fees, you are wasting money right in there. So maybe a little bit of budgeting can help to be able, or automation of payments, using online banking, stuff like that, to do payments on time may also help to get that 35% of your credit score to your favor. Look at the 30% is outstanding debt. So what that means is how much debt do you have out there? If you have a credit card, an example would be if you have a credit card, let's say for $1,000, and you're using the whole amount, the full month, even if you pay it in full every single month, you still are using 100% of your credit. Believe it or not, 100% of your credit, that's a red flag. People will say, without knowing, because nobody knows if you're paying it on time or not. That's not reported. Nobody knows if you're paying the full amount or not. That's not reported. What is reported is just that you're making the payment on time. So Rule of thumb is you might want to use less than 50% for a positive feedback. Better feedback to your credit will be if you maintain that at a levels of no more than 30 to 35% of your credit limit. Meaning, for every $1,000 that you have, for example, in credit, you might want to use no more than 30 to 35%, $300, $350. Something like that doesn't occur when you have a actual term loan. A term loan is like a vehicle loan, for example, is one of term loans, or personal loan that has a fixed rate and fixed term. That means that they don't give you availability to reuse what you have paid off, sort of like a credit card or line of credit. So just between outstanding debt and your paying on time, you are able to satisfy 75% of your credit score. That's how important the payment and the debt are. You also have in 15% the length of credit history. So how old is your credit? Anything that is less than 24 months is considered too young. Anything that is, above 5 years of age, your credit history, of course, that is, it is considered fair. The older that it is, the better. At that given point, I have always had this question. Is it okay for me to close my credit card? The question that I have for them is that the first credit card that you ever obtained? Because if you close the first credit card that you ever obtained, what you are doing is you are closing that history. And that's how important is the length of history. Now, if by the time that you obtain that credit card, maybe within just a couple of months, you were able to obtain a new credit card or a new loan or something like that, and that had to be paid off or closed for whatever reasons, then it's okay. However, be conscious about that situation. 10% is actually new applications for credit. That's what we normally call inquiries, or every time that you're applying for something different. More than often we see that when we go to department stores or different type of stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, and they're telling us sometimes, hey, do you want to apply for this credit card? We give you 10, 20, 15% or whatever percent discount today. Well, if the transaction and the credit card is worth having it or keeping it, maybe it's a good situation. However, applying too many times to different type of loans is another red flag that will actually will impact negatively to your credit. Another 10% is actually the type of credits. So when we're talking about type of credits, we're talking about, do you have a mortgage? Do you have an auto loan or personal loan? Do you have a credit card, line of credit? Do you have student loans? More than often, we would like to see a mix of different type of loans, right? There is only one type of program that allows you, just with a credit card, being able to qualify for, and that's normally mortgages. And for obvious reasons, mortgage is a more important purchase. Therefore, the government have been able to assist us with allowing individuals just to have a credit card, even if it is just one credit card, to apply for mortgages. But that's because mortgages are special. But in many occasions, if you only have one credit card and all of a sudden you wish to be approved for something different, you may find yourself in a little bit of a pickle. That is, if that credit card, for example, is too young, maybe less than 24 months, or the balance of the credit card is too high compared to your credit limit, or the actual credit limit is very low as well. So again, situations may happen, and for that, it's better to speak with a certified banker. But don't forget, 75% had to do with you paying on time and the amount of debt that you have in that open line of credit or credit card. So now that we have talked a little bit about how this score number is, let's look at what is actually, or how to read your credit report. Remember, in your credit report, you will find information such identifying, verifying who you are with information like your name, birthday, address, phone number sometimes, employer information, and so on. Your credit history, some of the what you call trade lines as well. This kind of provides like a sort of like a snapshot of all the activity on your credit report. Public records, which include your public information related to tax liens or bankruptcies, and inquiries. That actually is a list of different companies who have viewed your credit report in the last 2 years. So each of the entries on your credit report, you should be able to see name of a creditor, account number, the type of credit, whether it is an open credit or closed, the status of the account, the amount of fixed monthly payment, if ever, higher credit, lower credit, if it is an open line, you would see it like that, and how well you have paid. These are different symbols or numbers that shows that you have paid every single time, or sometimes they're straightforward, put it like on time. They say, for example, open, inactive, close, paid. So, but that's information that you should be able to see. Now, towards the end of this session, I will share with you all a handout that has all this information compiled in just 2 pages. Also have some tips. So wait until the end of the session to be able to provide, and I will be able to provide you that information. Let me just do a little break. Let me see if there is anything. I don't have any questions so far in the chat, so let me go ahead and continue. Yeah.
I actually have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Like you said with your credit card, I'm trying to understand when it comes to working with your credit card. I know you said they do not show that, it does not show that how much of a payment you're making, but just that you are making a payment. For say, like you said, if your credit card is due today on the 5th, is there a grace period for say if you missed your credit card payment that it's reported to is reported to the credit bureaus, that it won't be late as a late credit?
Excellent question. Thank you so much. So yes, they don't show how much you are making the payment. However, in your report, like you see over here, for example, tells you the name of the creditor, total amount of the loan. In a credit card, you see what it says, I think it's the 4 bullet point. Yeah, it says total amount of the loans, credit limit, highest balance on card. So they only show, for example, if your credit card is for $3,000, it will say it's $3,000 credit card. And it will also have an average balance. So if you have been using all $3,000 every single month, even if you pay it on time, it will show also $3,000. And that's the way that credit people, like underwriters or credit officers will determine how much have you been using of your credit card. Not only that, but also if, let's say, and your question was specifically about if it's paid on the 5th, right? If it's not paid today on the 5th, more than often, a credit card company, the due date doesn't have a grace period, meaning that they don't give you extra days to make the payment without charging you the late fee. Charging you the late fee is an income for that financial institution that is giving you that credit. However, it will not harm your credit report unless you are more than 30 days late from the day of the payment. So if it is January the 5th, but you make your payment on February the 6th, that's more than 30 days. So the agency will obtain the report that you did pay for January, but you paid January late. And I don't have, unfortunately, we are unable to obtain sort of an example of how they look, because each company, as mentioned before, they obtain the credit report and then they adapt it to their own to be able to view it. However, if you pull the credit report from one of the Bureau of Credits, and I will let you guys know how to do that for free once a year, I will give you that website later on, you will be able to see when it says on time or late. And the ones from the credit report, sometimes they even put it in color. The red ones means that you have been late for that month, and the green ones in the month means that you have been on time. There is another area in other type of reporting in which you have a bunch of ones, making sure that you make your payment on time, and all of a sudden you see a 0, for example. That 0 means that that month you made a late payment. Again, it all depends on the reporting you're looking at. However, it will only affect your actual credit report if it is more than 30 days late. Now, to all these, please, a disclaimer. If you are making a late payments all the time with that credit card, keep in mind that the financial institution that is giving you that credit card may consider your account as a liability because you're paying late all the time. So you want to try to keep all the time payments on time. Normally, when I have a payment, normally I try to make the payment as soon as I'm able to receive the statement. Worst case scenario, 2 days before the due date. So if something were to happen, I have proof that I actually sent the payment, that I have the proof in order to dispute. Because sometimes financial institutions will make a mistake, and if they charge you that, but do you have the proof that you send the payment and if their system didn't take it on time or something like that, that is different. For that, again, look at the terms and conditions with the financial institution they're looking at. So hopefully that was able to answer your question.
Yes, sir, it was. And you also have a question inside of the chat if you want to read it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me look it up right now. Having no mortgage, personal school loans, etc., is a negative. So, and please, Ballard, FJ, let me just know, yes or no. So what you're saying is having no credit is a negative? Is that what you're trying to say? If that's the case, yes, having no credit, it is a negative. Because having no credit is like you don't have something that can help you to indicate who you are, right? Or how good you are able to pertain. Let me go back to this. Thank you, FJ, for confirming that. So let me go back to this over here. So if you don't have any credit, there will not be a number. So people will not be able to understand the risk that you represent. Credit is no other than the risk that you represent. How risky you are if you are very low because you don't make your payments on time, you have collections and so forth and so on. However, the higher credit you have indicates in numbers, right? Not the person, but in numbers, how well you have been able to make the payments and so forth and so on. That's the best way to actually identify, and that's the fair way to identify what we can do for you. However, if you do not have credit and you're looking for a mortgage sometimes, and depending upon the program that you have in the mortgage, may be able to see your history of utility payments and other situations that are non-conventional credit. That's how it's called, non-conventional credit, to formulate whether you can qualify for that mortgage. Nevertheless, it is clear to understand that if they don't have any credit, conventional credit, to look at your risk level, they won't be able to then provide you the best interest rate. And maybe terms and conditions or different type of terms and conditions may apply. So yes, having no credit or having a very thin type of credit is not good for you. You have to have history. In order to make history is very simple. You can create history, for example, with a secure credit card. These are accounts in which you give $300, $400, $500, put in a savings account, and that savings account becomes the collateral for the credit card that the financial institution will give you. So it's your own money, however, it's not being utilized. It's being held up as a collateral, meaning as a security that you will pay for your credit card as you use it. And then the utilization of your credit card as you use and you pay, that will generate the credit history that you need. Imagine credit as a vehicle. If you have an AC in your vehicle and you have never used, eventually that AC is going to go bad. You have to turn on that AC from time to time. The vehicle itself, if you park your vehicle for over a week without turning it on, at least for 15, 20 minutes, the vehicle is going to go bad. Everything has to be in motion. Your credit is something similar. I hope that helps with understanding, the importance of having credit. Continue. So we talk about also in your credit report, you will find public records. In here, you will find a listing of public records record items actually obtained from local, state, or federal courts. They reflect your history of meeting financial obligations. Now, these can be bankruptcy records, tax lien, judgments, or including overdue child support. In fact, Florida is one of those states that if you have an overdue child support, not a child support, overdue, it has to be past due, overdue, right? When the judge says you have to pay back, that's when it will go into your credit report. If you are making your payments on time, none of these situations may happen. Another situation, for example, with tax liens that we have seen, in my career, I have seen is, let's say that you hire somebody to do some work at your home, a contractor. More than often, the contractor, insured and that is licensed and insured, will ask you to sign a document. That document is more than often is a tax lien that they will put on your home if you don't pay them the full amount. There are processes for it. So that's, for example, another situation that we have seen sometimes. Individuals beginning a confrontation with the contractor without the proper procedures. And then all of a sudden they realize that this company had put a tax lien in their home. That will show up in there. Next, collections. If you have been in an unfortunate situation that you have a past due account, overdue account that you have not been able to take care of, or you have not been able to satisfy the debt, more than often, this will be sold to collection agencies. Normally, these agencies are able to maintain that in your credit history for 7 years. And even if you're making payments, the amount reflected in the amount due will not fluctuate until actually will not change until actually it's paid down to zero. And even after you have paid down to zero, it will remain for 7 years in there. So the best thing to do is contact your credit or your collection agency if you are in this unfortunate situation, and make sure that you make arrangements for payment or to satisfy the loan at all and completely. At this point, I would like to recommend, regardless of the situation that you are into, if you see yourself in some type of situation that you are unable to make the payment on time, rather than wait and see what happened, make sure that you contact the financial institution right away. Right? During 2020, because of obvious situations, the government, the government allows us to create certain type of, delay payments or severance package and stuff like that allow people to delay their payments or not to be able to make any payments until later on, or at the end of the certain period, make the whole payment and so forth and so on. However, they were not automatic imposed to every client. Client needed it to contact the financial institution. So the best thing to do is always maintain open communication. So that way you are able to avoid these type of situations. More than often, a reputable financial institution will have ways to help you being not late in your payments and arrange with you some sort of payment options, or maybe refinancing the debt or something like that. Inquiries. So inquiries are more than often just when a different type of companies or different companies may want to take a look or a snapshot at your credit. Now, in this area, sometimes we have hard inquiries, or we call it soft inquiries. An example of a hard inquiry, somebody that wants to look at your credit, is when they pull your credit completely. For example, if you apply to a vehicle loan, a personal loan, mortgage, or a credit card, they do a hard inquiry, right? They need to look completely at your situation. However, nowadays, we're seeing in certain locations, certain dealerships that they tell you, we don't need your social, we can look it up with your driver license. Well, if you are in Florida, keep in mind that your driver license has that little star in one corner of the driver license next to the number of the ID. That indicates they have already identified. So with your driver license number, they can pull your Social Security verification system and see your credit. An inquiry could be when you receive, let's say, an invite or they say that you are pre-qualified or pre-approved for something, right? That's just an inquiry. Many marketing companies all year round, more than often, like to take a snapshot of different situations that happen in your credit. That only happens from reputable companies only when you have applied for something. So giving my own example, again, last year I was able to get a new home, buy a new home. So because of somebody pulled my credit, and mortgages are public records, other companies began looking at my credit as a snapshot. So it didn't harm my credit. However, there are inquiries and they send me an invitation to do this or that. In order to do so, you need to make sure that, number one, you only receive inquiries from companies that you have applied. If you see in your credit record that somebody has pulled your credit and you never provided authorization, you must contact them back and inquire the reason why they have done it. Because if that is harming your credit, they need to fix it for you. With that being said, normally within the last 24 months, we would like to see, financial institutions like to see no more than 2 or 3 inquiries in your credit history. Keep in mind, put myself as an example again. If I bought a home last year, they pull my credit once, and then after that, my credit have to be pulled again and again in inquiries from utility companies, insurance companies, so forth and so on, because of the type of transaction. When that happened, right? When that happened, my credit doesn't get affected as much because it is understandable the way that it's being reported and the reason why it's being pulled the credit. So reputable companies normally will not do that from you in your credit record, will not harm you like that. But if you see something bad, something that you are not agree with, you need to call. You have the right to call, complain about it, and find out why that happened. So we talk a little about your credit record, your credit report, your credit score. Now let's talk about how to repair your credit or improve your FICO score. You know, one of the best. Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Angel. I didn't want to cut you off, but I've seen that Mr. Ballard had a question in the chat for you.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
In the process of divorcing, so is it true that credit and tax history becomes yours as well going forward?
Yes. The unfortunate situation is that the divorces do affect your credit. They will affect it. It also depends, you know, how much is going to affect you. It will also depend how involved were the communal credit, right? If I obtain, for example, a house with my wife, both credits are going to be affected. If the house was only in my name, but my wife was just in the title, that means that in her credit, the mortgage payment was not there. So her credit is not going to be that affected. You know, unfortunately, the system provides it to the point that they like to have a unison whole household credit that reads in certain way. And when divorce is happening, unfortunately, the credit gets affected in one way or another one. The level in which affects the credit is how bad the divorce was, to be honest with you, or how many accounts jointly you had with your spouse. You know, that's just the truth. That's why you have sometimes you had seen judges are now taking into consideration who's the breadwinner of the house when they make the divorce judgment. And they sometimes within the divorce judgment, they indicate, okay, this credit card or this loan should be paid by this individual without affecting the other one. So that's when the judge is determining those things. So again, it all depends how intrinsic, how involved you are in the process and how bad the divorce was. So unfortunately, yes, you know, divorce and tax credit and tax history becomes yours as well as going forward. The credit, again, it all depends how it went. Yes, of course, no problem. I mean, I'm more than happy to help you. And again, after the session, I will provide information of a local banker that if you have further questions and a little bit more personal questions, you can feel free to talk to that individual. They will be able to give you more assistance in regards to not only this topic, but any other topic. So I know that we are 50 minutes more. So let me go ahead and talk to you about how to be able to repair or improve your credit or FICO score. So one of the best things to do is actually make your payments on time. As simple as that. 35% is because of that. Lower the balance of those payments. Sometimes when you are lowering the balances, you might want to take a look at different calculators. Like for example, in regions.com/calculators, you can find different ways to know how much money you need to add every month to that loan in order to get the lower balances. Or even calculators that tell you, is it worth it to consolidate debt through a personal loan? Sometimes that may be worth it. Sometimes the fact of applying for a credit card that offers you 18 months, 0% interest, for example, to pay a different credit card, you know, may not work. It will only work if you have the certainty that in 18 months, you will be able to pay the whole debt. So you can save all that interest. However, if you have one setback that puts you beyond those 18 months, you will be paying a lot of interest on the balance that is still accurate. So be careful about those things. So it's not good sometimes to lend from Peter to pay Rob, you know, something like that. So don't open new credit cards unless it's needed, truly needed. You know, make sure that you review your credit card history at least once a year. Check your credit report, set up automatic payments. This will help you out to be on time. As mentioned before, 35% of the time, that's what you need to do. Reduce your debt. We were talking a little bit about that. Pay your bill on time, get current and stay current if you are falling behind a little bit. Again, talk to your creditor. Sometimes they have different ways to help you get on track with the payments. Keep in mind that collections accounts will remain in your credit report for at least 7 years. If you have any trouble, again, contact your creditors or credit counselor. They will be able to assist you with that. In regards to amounts owed, keep in mind that revolving credits, those balances need to be low. So any type of line of credit or credit cards, that's what we know as a revolving credit, don't use the full amount, of your credit. So if you have $1,000, don't use the whole $1,000 because otherwise it will be reported as 100% utilization. You want to have it at 30 to 35 to make a huge positive impact. No more than 50 is acceptable. Don't move it to pay. So we were talking about it. Don't apply for that 18-month 0% credit card unless you know that you're going to be able to do it. Now, if you have to move it, make the right choice. And that's when it comes a personal loan might be able to assist you to actually consolidate the debt properly. Don't close credit cards. We were talking about closing the credit cards that were giving you that history, especially if the credit card is a very good credit card, giving you a very good history. Don't close it, even if you don't use it. At least use it for one time a month, put gas in your vehicle, $30, $40, and then pay it in full. The utilization of your services will also help you. Now, in here, sometimes I have heard individuals, I don't use it, I don't need it. My question to you would be, does it offer you any type of benefit that is worth keeping? Or is the limit the one that you may need? Keep in mind, if you have something that is giving you at least $2,000 in limit, that could save you at one given point if you have an emergency. But if it's something that is only giving you $300, $400 and the interest rate is too high, then it's not worth it to keep it. However, if that was your first credit card, you might want to actually keep that and maybe talk to the creditor to arrange better your interest rate and maybe give you a bump in your limit so you can use it at least once. But more important, do not open new credit cards as needed. Now, when we're talking about how to repair and improve your credit, sometimes we have talked about credit counseling agencies. If you are in the situation that you need this type of assistance, keep in mind that these are certified companies that are actually approved and licensed to help you with these type of situations. More than often, your local bank or credit union is not a credit agency. They can more than often give you is just basic information on how to do things, but they cannot actually give you a solid advice in regards to your individual situation or complete the letter that is needed. That's why the government requires that a credit agency acts on your behalf. If that is the case, make sure that you interview the credit agency. Make sure that you do research about this credit agency. Keep in mind something, credit agencies, reputable credit agencies, will not charge you a front fee without providing you basic information first. Now, we normally recommend not-for-profit companies, not-for-profit credit counseling agencies. If you just research that on the web, you will be able to find that there are several in the area that can help you with that situation. They will charge you a fee because they still have to make, they still have to pay for the electricity, the computer, the paper. They still have to pay for the knowledge. However, the fee is not going to be that high. Then from there, make sure that you inform yourself about the terms and conditions, the repayment methods, if they're able to offer you some type of loan consolidation, special loan consolidation or settlement type of loan. Regardless of what you do, work with a company that is actually reputable and have license to act upon on your behalf. So let's get to the page of the action. I mentioned to you all that I will be able to share with you earlier the handout for this seminar, and I'm going to be posting it shortly in the chat. So if you click in the link that I will be posting in the chat, you will be able to see the handout seminar. And I'm going to be, just give me 1 second. I'm going to be flipping the page over here. So the information that you will be able to find in this is that annualcreditreport.com. That's the place that you will be able to actually visit and obtain once a year your free credit report for each of the Bureau of Credits. Okay, by law, you have the opportunity to have it once a year for free. Now, as long as you are the one that initiate or look for that credit score report, the credit score will never be affected. Your credit will not be affected about it. It also has the information that you'll be looking at in a credit report: identifying information, account information, your public records, inquiries. Second page of that document, you will have different ways or different tips in how to act upon your credit. So again, if you are able to take a copy and paste that link, put it in your browser, it will be able to give you the option to see our handout. And that's an action. Yes.
I had a question about the annual credit report. I know with I think I don't know if it's annual credit report or free credit report. I know they are giving out your credit report, but one of them does not hand out your actual credit score. Does annual credit report give your actual credit score?
No, they will not. However, when you are looking, and this happened, I done it myself. What I have done is when you are looking, when you go to annualcreditreport.com, it gives you the link to each of the Bureau of Credits. Once you click in each of the links, you begin putting information and it will provide you your report. Believe it or not, for approximately 5 to 10 seconds in one side of the screen, sometimes it pop up your credit score very quick and you will be able to see it. The reason that they cannot do it every single time is because pulling your own credit report doesn't cost you, but looking at credit score, it will cost you. Not only your credit score, but also, remember what I mentioned at the beginning, the 3 Bureau of Credits are for-profit companies. So they need to sell your information to somebody. And depending upon where and how you're going to use that report and score is that you may see numbers in a different way. To this, I can say, I know that there are a couple of applications, that you can download, and they say that they will give you your credit score report. In fact, we're seeing commercials of one of the Bureau of Credit telling you, oh, we give you this, we will fix your credit score. We jump it up 10 points just for signing up. Well, keep in mind that that's for them only. Okay. That's not all 3 Bureau of Credits, So, and these applications that allows you to monitor your credit or your credit score, they're just they use their own information, their own algorithms to create what they believe your credit score should be. These are good to just keep track of what's going on, but they are not the true information, or they are not in timely. They're not timely. I mean, I have one of those my own, and I have seen sometimes, when I bought this house, in my credit, in one of the credit bureaus, my account came up in 45 days. In this application that I monitor sometimes, I haven't seen it yet. It's not reported yet.
No, wow.
So okay. Don't the true source of your credit report will be the Bureau of Credits. So somebody is saying over here, I wrote a long message and it was lost. So click, I'm 82, been retired for 20 years military, 20 years, HVAC trades. We thank you for your services, sir. I will never be employed again. I look to unsubscribe, but there is no option. I never had a problem being employed. When I left the Navy, I wanted to buy a home, but I had no credit. I started with Sears on a living room set. I kept expanding my credit with 2 bank credit cards. 2 years later, having established credit, bought a home with a plan upon leaving the military. Life good if you don't hear from your plan. That is correct. Everything is a strategy. Everything is a plan. Everything is a process, right? And as I mentioned before, mortgages is one of those very few instances in which very little can do a lot. But if you want to be in a better position, there has to be a process that you have to start. And that's part of the action that I was talking about. The action that I'm asking everybody today is pull up your credit report. Look at what's going on in there and begin inquiring about it and work towards it. This kind of concludes the formal piece of the information, in which we appreciate that we have been able to look at what's your credit report and FICO, how does it actually affect your finances, and how to maintain and improve your credit report. If you know, this is my friend Michael Neal. He's a VA like you all. He is the branch manager of one of our branches, and his information is in the system. If you wish to speak with somebody directly or have a little bit more one-on-one conversation, or even helping you with planning, like the individual that made the comment, 20 years, again, thank you so much. Glad that you were able to do it. And it's true. You have to stick to your plan. You know, everything is a process. This is not a situation of I'm going to do it today and tomorrow is going to be fixed. You know, that's when we were talking about credit counseling agencies, a reputable one, we'll be able to explain that this is going to be a process, right? Even to create your credit is a process. One credit card 6 months after can do enough to give you qualify for a mortgage. It may not be the best mortgage that you're looking for, the best mortgage program, but it will be qualification. Now, 2 years, as you saw, it took the better position to have and obtain those participations. So thank you so much. At this point, Hakeem, I'm going to go ahead and give you back the screen. Thank you so much. To see if anybody has any questions, we might be able to answer. Any questions? Could be in regards to credit, or could be in regards to anything else, financial wise.
I do actually have another question, possibly, with the FICO scores. Now, when it comes to the different FICO scores, you said there are multiple different, there are different FICO scores that different companies look at. Do you know if it's,
for example,
5, 10, do you know?
Yeah, for example, Equifax will have one score for you. TransUnion will do a different score, will have a different number than you, and Experian will have a different number for you. Why is this happening? So, as mentioned before, these are for-profit companies. So, if a financial institution, you know, and depend upon the financial institution, the geographic, the reach that that financial institution has, not only that, but also the type of loan that you are doing. Mortgages, by law, have to be reported to all 3 Bureau of Credits. Vehicle loans are beginning to be reported to all 3 Bureau of Credits too. However, credit cards, personal loans, or certain institutions that are a lot smaller or they don't have that reach, they contract based on the geolocalization with one of the Bureau of Credits. So maybe that credit card or that loan that you have with this smaller company is not reported to all 3 Bureau of Credits, but it's only reported to one. That's the reason why, you know, that may change. With that being said, that's the reason why the link that I provided, annualcreditreport.com, give you access to all 3 Bureau of Credits. If you take action with one of them, you cannot assume that the other 2 will know what's going on. You have to do it yourself. You have to contact each of the Bureau of Credits. That's why the law allows us to pull once a year from each of the Bureau of Credits your information, because not all of them share the same source or they get the same reporting. That's the reason why you see different credit scores. They may be more than often, they are maybe 10 to no more than 15 points away. You know,
Okay.
if everything is consistent, of course. But again, it all depends also how small the financial company is that you're dealing with. A smaller, now we're seeing more, nowadays, for example, we're seeing more department stores not giving you, you know, an actual credit card, you know, like a Visa, MasterCard or something like that. They actually just give you a store credit card. That means that you can only use it with them. That type of card normally is not, that information of you making the payments on time, normally it's not provided to all 3 Bureau of Credits, but to only one of the 3, whoever they contracted with. I hope that satisfies that question.
It does, exactly. Yep, that's exactly what I was looking for, sir. Thank you.
Of course. Again, what other questions can we get? I am typing again, what's the website that you guys can look it up? It's annualcreditreport.com. Just copy and paste that from there. Or again, try to download the handout that we provided for this class. It has that information. It has information that you need to look for. And please take the step within the next 24 hours. We're beginning the year. So go to the website, pull your credit report, see what you need. Now, if you're able to print it, go ahead and do it. If not, at least email it to you. And if you need assistance talking to somebody, reach out to your local banker. If not, reach out to Michael. He will be able to look it up, see what's going on, explain you a little bit better. We at the bank, no bank can pull it and show you that information, okay? Just keep that in mind. We're not credit counseling agency, so we cannot show you the credit report in the moment that you apply for something. However, if you apply for a credit card or loan, regardless of the decision, whether it's approved or denied, you do have the right to obtain a copy of it. There is a process that you need to call that financial institution and get and obtain that copy being mailed to you. Something over here is I have paid off merchandise from rent or Rent-A-Center, so that counts. If that Rent-A-Center is providing information to the credit bureaus, it counts. If not, sorry, it doesn't count. The only and these are type of what we call these are the type of what we call non-conventional credit, right? Non-conventional credit is when a particular or private institution gives you credit, whether to rent or to buy or to something. However, sometimes they don't report that to the credit reports. When that happens, unfortunately, it doesn't create anything good for you just with that store. However, I want to just put this in clear. For mortgages, sometimes, not all the time, and not for all mortgage programs, non-conventional credit, payments of utilities, rent, car insurance, your cell phone bill or your telephone bill, water, electricity, those things may count towards your benefit to qualify for that non-conventional credit mortgage deal. So regardless, whether it counts or not to your regular credit, the one that you can pull, the one that people can see when you apply for a credit card, I would also recommend be on time, because you never know when that company maybe takes the opportunity and begins, sharing that information or reporting that to your credit agencies. And if that's the case, hey, good for you. Any questions? I mean, I'm more than happy to be with you guys. Answer any questions. Again, I do thank you all for your service. I don't see more in the chat. So Hakeem.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Angel. I appreciate that. I appreciate all that information. That was very, very informative. Information on our credit reports, because I had questions myself. So I'm glad you was able to answer them and help me hopefully move along and hopefully be able to purchase a home in the near future. I'm definitely going to check out AU credit report, pull my reports, and try to see how can I fix things and, like you said, become financially literate. But if there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank everybody for attending our Veterans Networking Group meeting this week. There will be our next meeting. It will be on the 19th. I will be sending out emails for the presenter for that week. Just to give everybody a reminder, also, we have a couple of job fairs coming up with Career Source. The first one that we have is the actual MacDill Air Force Base Job Fair. That will be on January 21st. Once the flyers and information comes out, I will be sending out the link for you to register to sign up for the job fair. We also have Congressman Gus Bilirakis coming, having a Veteran and Employment Fair. That's on February 18th. That's from 1 to 4. And I was just informed on another large job opportunity with Career Source. We have partnered up with Tesla. Tesla has multiple positions going on right now. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, we solar roofers, service technicians, levels 1, 2, and 3, electricians, lead installers. There's multiple, like I said, multiple positions that's going to be going on. I believe they said they're looking for over 100 positions for the Hillsborough area to be able to fill for Tesla. So that information will be going out to everybody also in the near future. And like I said, I want to thank everybody for attending our Veterans Networking Group today. If there is any more questions, you all have a blessed week. Yes, Angel. Yes, sir.
Hakeem, so sorry. At the beginning of the session, I forgot everybody to mention, about our financial assessment. I just posted a link on our website on the chat. So if you click on that link, it will give you access to a financial assessment. This is just simple yes or no questions that will give you the basics of a conversation with your banker. If you complete this link, at the end of this link, you will be able to obtain the information. And also, if you wish for one of our bankers to call you directly, you just need to click and select yes, provide your information, and then somebody will be able to connect with you. If you select no, it's okay. At least you still be able to retain the information that you provided in your own assessment, allowing you to have that conversation with your local banker. Thank you, Hakeem.
Of course. All right. Is there any more questions, comments, concerns that anybody have for Angel, myself, or anybody else in the group? Okay. Well, like I said, I'd like to thank everybody for attending this meeting. Y'all have a great week. Happy New Year for everybody also. Stay blessed and stay safe. Y'all have a good one.